Okay, excellent. All right. All right. My name is Ken Paskins. I'm your host today, and welcome to Leadership Tool of Titans, sponsored by the Shift Spot. Today, we're grateful to have Marcia Riner. She is with Infinite Profit Consulting, and she is a growth consultant. So Marcia, I apologize, first of all, I'm going to correct that. So obviously, but Marcia, please explain to the listeners, what is a growth consultant? I mean, that sounds phenomenal. It sounds like something I need. I'm sure everybody needs it, and they're all going to want to call you immediately after this. But what is a growth consultant?
I love it. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate you having me on the show today. This is fantastic. What a business growth consultant does is they help companies to kind of see the forest through the trees, right? Many business owners are so stuck in the everyday challenge of doing their business that they forget to step back and look at the business and see where they can make improvements and grow their company. And I focus a lot on revenue generation and processes and operations. So those areas really can be improved by getting some outside help. And that's where the growth consultant comes in, is to help them really see things that they can't see for themselves.
Okay. All right. So I heard a couple things. I mean, would you consider yourself an operations person, a marketing person, or a little bit of both of those?
I think it's a little bit of both. I'm a marketing geek by interest, technically trained by working and spending and investing a lot in my own practice and business.
Right.
But funny enough is that when you work on a project, or you decide to do a repair on your home, right? And you go in thinking you're going to do one thing, and then you find out 5 things need to be done.
Yeah.
That's how it kind of comes out to, is that you could say that revenue is the driver for the business, but when you look at the business itself, you see that it is the process with the line when the prospect comes through the channel or your funnel of the company, or maybe it's the way that you're doing your bookkeeping, or so like I said, 5 or 6 things tend to open up. So
Right.
those operations or processes and systems usually come through because we found a problem.
Okay. Excellent. How did you get into this?
Crazy thing happened. So for years, I'm still a classically trained financial advisor with a certified financial planner designation. I
Okay.
do no investments anymore. I don't sell any products, but I keep my planning going.
Okay.
And what would happen is I would meet with my business owner clients,
Mhm.
and they would come in and say, well, hey, I want to plan to sell my company when I retire.
Yep.
Right. And I go, great. What's the value of your company? And they give me some Shark Tank idea. Oh, 10 times multiples of this and this and this. And I'm like, sure. Okay. What are we going to do to ensure that that value will be there when it's time to sell?
Yeah.
And they'd hem and haw, or they'd give me this really roundabout answer. And because I was always working on growing my business,
Yeah.
and I come from a family of business owners, I've always had this entrepreneurial style. So funny enough is I would start coaching my clients, my financial planning clients, on ideas that we could do to make sure we're shoring up the plan
Yep.
that I knew, in fact, was going to fail.
Okay.
And so life happens, right? Things happened in my life that caused me to realize that financial planning in the traditional source was no longer an interest for me. So I started talking to my business owner clients, and they liked my business planning ideas better than my financial planning ideas.
Great. All right.
And in 2017, I pulled the trigger and went into this path. And it's just, I'm loving it ever since. So funny enough, it was the trigger of planning to sell your business and realizing it was going to fail to move me into helping companies make sure that they can get their business
Yep.
ready.
Yep. Yep. And a lot of owners, I mean, you and I were speaking on another call, but a lot of owners, and we'll get more into exit planning, but a lot of owners actually don't even do that. So I think, you're with folks that are have got a financial portfolio, so they're natural planners. Most people don't even do that, right? So I would assume that you're seeing the cream of the crop by those interactions. But what are some of the statistics out there, just out of curiosity, of people that don't even think through that, or exit, or companies that die on the vine, right? All that hard work and I'm dead, and it just disappears.
Well, sadly enough, I got to witness both of my parents do that.
Yeah.
My dad ran a very successful car resale and leasing brokership. And, he lived in the day to day and didn't make those plans to be able to make it where it wasn't about his ability and those things. And his company died on the vine when it was time for him to retire. Made a great living, but, mom had the exact same situation. She was a powerhouse in the mortgage industry in the 80s and 90s. And that's when mortgage brokers were really becoming popular. She
Yep.
actually had at one time like 7 or 8 branches, and companies, big banks were coming to her and going, Rose, how are you creating this centralized processing in your location? So she had this fantastic model,
Yeah.
but she wanted me to step in and take over the roles. And that was kind of not really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And so literally her business died on the vines because when she wanted me to come in and take the role, I found out later that she was offered at the height of, I want to say somewhere around 1995 of the mortgage business, she was offered $1 million for
Wow.
her 7 branches and
Wow.
her processing and system, because she had all sorts of employees and teams and all this stuff. And she goes, I'm not ready to retire yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Boom. And if y'all remember what happened in 2007 and 2008 with the mortgage
Yeah.
crisis, well, my mom ended up closing her doors, downsizing her branches. She ended up with a copier and a couple pieces of office furniture and closed her doors.
That's too bad. Yeah, that's a lot of generational wealth is lost, just not planning that way. So that's really
And
too.
had I known back then, what I now know today,
Yeah.
I kick myself in the behind every day. But that's what drives me
Yeah.
with my clients to say, it doesn't matter if you're ready to retire now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you know who you're going to sell it to or what those future plans are. But if you do the right things today to prepare your business for whenever you decide to flip the switch,
Yep.
you'll be in a much better position to sell that company than waiting or expecting something that you haven't done any preparation for.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. Agreed. So I was looking at your website earlier, and obviously I'm looking at it right now, but I'm just curious. Walk us through the 6 steps to profit boosting, which I'm sure is going to help anybody that wants to exit a business. But what is that, and why is it unique, and what is your approach there, please?
I love it, and thank you. Actually, that strategy, those 6 steps, are actually in my new book that was just released
Okay.
at the end of April, which is Boosting Business Profits.
Okay.
And those 6 strategies are really around kind of what I described in the beginning. You need to have the people in place first, right?
Right.
If your business is all about you and you are the business, right? And you're swinging the hammer every day, or you're guiding your clients and they all come for you, it's not a saleable business. I
Right.
can't sell you.
Right.
So you have to do, the E-Myth and all those other books that are out there, and build yourself a team,
Right.
a team to help you do the business that you can change, you can train, you can set people up to help you deliver whatever it is that you provide, your widget or your service. Very easy to do. Then you have to have the processes and people in place to, be able to support when you say, Marcia, go do that. They know exactly how to wash, rinse, and repeat your system.
Yep.
But beyond that, when we're looking at the sales pieces, right? How do we boost those revenue levers? right? We look at how do you make sure you get leads that are your right client, the
Right.
person who is ready and willing and looking for you out there. They
Right.
may still be looking for ideas or validation or is this really the solution I want? Are you the best person to provide that solution? So it's setting you, the business, up
Yep.
for successful lead generation.
Yep.
Then it becomes, how do you move through that sales process of conversion and converting better ratios than you did in the past,
Mhm.
and then setting up different kinds of offers that if your client isn't ready to buy your $10,000 offer, maybe they're ready to buy an entry level offer. And so I use this example of even the florist, right? If we're talking different businesses, a gentleman walks into the florist and says, I want to buy my girlfriend or wife some flowers. And it happens to be Valentine's Day. So, of course, the price is accelerated. And she goes, oh, it's $100 today for your dozen roses. And he goes, what? Ouch. I think I'll look somewhere else. Starts heading for the door. And she says, wait, if $100 too much, I have this local florist bunch for 25. Is that more in your price range? And he goes, yes. And so creating offers that allow your customers to buy what they feel they can afford rather than walking out the door,
Right.
if that makes sense.
It does.
So you can see lots of different things that stack into those 6 strategies. And we're just coming up off the top.
Talk to me about leads, if you will, because
Mhm.
boy, it everybody wants more leads, but more importantly, people want qualified leads. And I don't know about you, but every day I get into LinkedIn, I have somebody from the Far East reaching out to me and wanting to, give me
So
10,000.
sell their crap.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, what's your strategy there? How do you work? If let's say I'm a client of yours, how would you work with me and help me get more leads so I can do all this great stuff and boost my profits?
Great question. And I am not a quote marketer, right? So there's a lot of people that can help you develop your website, that can help you, run ads and do all that kind of stuff. That's not my jam.
Okay.
My jam is to make their job, those marketers' job, a lot more impactful.
Okay.
And we do this by doing a couple of different things. The first thing is, how do you clearly articulate who your ideal customer is? What is the problem that they have right now
Right.
that they're looking to solve? And then how do you position your business as the most logical, hands down, best opportunity to solve their problem?
Right.
And then position yourself in a way that it makes it very easy for that ideal customer to start to try you out,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because I don't know about you, but when I'm looking for my problem to be solved, I'm not going to pick up the first guy or person or company I see and go, "Oh, that's it. Here's my money, solve my problem."
Mhm.
Whatever that is.
Yep.
I want to feel comfortable that they are that person and maybe test the waters a little bit,
Okay.
get more information.
Yep.
And so that's where the foundational work that you need to have done on your business is going to be rocket fuel for the website creation, for the ads that you spend, for the communication that you do on LinkedIn
Right.
to attract that audience. So that's where I come in,
Okay. Got it.
if that
So
makes sense. There's a
totally.
lot of groundwork, right? Foundational stuff. But guess what, Ken? This doesn't mean that you're starting your company and that's where it went. This is often recalibrating existing companies that are already in momentum
Yeah.
and fine tuning it. And even multi-million dollar companies often need to redefine and reconnect with their audience
Right.
to make sure that their impact is much greater.
Right. Right. So what's a client journey look like? I engage you and I see you do private, small groups, do it yourself, right? What does that journey look like if I wanted to work with you?
Well, funny enough, is I always start out with my best strategy. So I've got 50 some odd strategies that I mix cocktails with and create with my clients based on their own situation. But we start off with a phone call, right? We make sure that this is the right kind of thing. I share some of the strategies and show my prospective clients how these strategies could really move the needle for their business.
Okay.
Then from there, I actually take them through a proprietary software that will show the impact, right? So we're not just theorizing that, oh, if we do this, right, it's going to improve that. I come in and show them, well, what if we made a 5% improvement in this particular area? How would that impact your bottom line?
Okay.
And then the numbers line up and they're like, oh, so then if my fee is this, I've just managed to cover the cost of hiring me,
Right.
which is one strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what we do is we start working through those strategies over a period of time.
Okay. Okay. How long is that journey typically? 6 months, a year?
So great question. I've had clients that have worked with me for as little as 6 months, and I've had clients that are still working with me for, 5, 6 years later.
Yeah.
So these engagements we can really get them going quickly, but then you find that there's a lot more, that can of worms that opens up when
Yeah.
you open the wall to fix the plug. There's more things that provide, and having someone who has the skill set and knowledge to be able to truly help the customer to achieve those actionable tactics and strategies really it brings me into their business in a way that I love, they love, and then we become trusted partners.
Okay. Awesome. Uh, so let's go back to just exiting again. We
Yeah.
highlighted that. You gave me a couple examples of some stories about your parents and everything. How do you engage companies and businesses? I mean, I understood how it's different when you're an advisor, right? How do you generally engage folks now to help them actually plan their strategy? Give the listeners a real feel of what that looks like. I'm assuming you're working with them to maximize their value, maximize their potential, and then put a stake in the ground of when they want to exit or not. So talk to us about that if you could, please.
So the funny thing that happens is that if you ask a business owner and you start to talk to them about their exit strategy, it is either right in front of their eyes and they
Right.
want to grab it tomorrow, which
Right.
is
Right.
too late,
Yeah.
or it's so far away that they don't even want to think about it.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
So it is, yeah, those polar opposites. So what I've found is that by doing all the strategies that I teach in my growth arena, it sets the business up in a way that makes them sale ready. So
Okay.
you don't have to think about selling. It's already stacked up so you become a very attractive business.
Okay.
But to answer your question, many business owners that think about selling, they're like, I want to sell in the next year, right? Well, the process takes about a year. So that means the business has to be, you know, buttoned up.
Yeah.
Positive increasing cash flow is always a desired situation for buyers, right? You need to have a business that is transferable to another entity or team member.
Yeah.
That's super important. The books have to be stellar and tell an incredible story of potential growth.
Right.
And with those kind of things, then it becomes, well, how do you get those? To create those for an already existing running machine that's moving along, doing everything great, it could take 6 months to a year to prepare that and make sure everything's buttoned up. we all have skeletons in our closets. You have to bury those first,
Yep.
and give some time back there. But business buyers will look back 3 years to understand the story of your business, sometimes a little further, to be able to get the history for it.
Okay.
So as you can see now, I'm adding more years each portion I talk about to what it takes to get that business sale ready.
Yep.
I don't sell your business, I get it ready for sale. So the longer the runway, the better you can position your company so that whenever you decide, ideally 5, 10 years, whatever that time horizon is ahead of you, you're in a better position to be more attractive and get more multiples for your company than you would have if you just said, "Oh, I've spent 30 years doing this in my business, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a buyer now."
Yeah.
Well, chances are you're going to get, if you're lucky, 2 multiples. That means 2 times your current revenue
Right.
for your company
Right.
for 30 years of contributions.
Right.
There's no balance there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I get the books, right? And
Yeah.
may not be easy to help your cash flow. I mean, look, if everybody had the answer to increasing cash flow, they would. What are some other areas?
I've got proven steps though. I've got
Okay.
really proven things to increase that cash flow. So
Okay. So what are some other areas? Just give me some other examples of things you look under the hood and,
yes.
we know we now need 12 months in advance. What are some other things that you're looking at? Say, you got to tighten this up. You got to do this. You got to do that.
You bet.
Things.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to do with it. Um I think the biggest impact is the owner,
Okay.
the founder of the company that has carried the company on her shoulders for the last 5, 10, 20, 30 years.
Right.
How do you get that owner in a position where the business runs without them?
Yeah.
That's the ideal situation.
Right.
And your biggest litmus test on whether your business can run without you is to take a 3-week vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Are you on your phone the whole time you're on your vacation, or do you feel confident that the business is running successfully without you?
Yeah. Okay.
And that goes back to the people, processes, and everything you've got going on. But I think that's your biggest that's your biggest thing is and if it can't run without you, then what can you start to do to make sure that it can?
Right. Okay, good. And then you'll spend some time with them, I'm sure, and helping them understand like their challenges with the people and their processes and build those things out. Okay, good.
Exactly.
Okay.
And by the way, I'm not the end all beat all. I'm the visionary. I'm the quarterback. I'm the person that gets you thinking differently and moving towards the steps. So I'm the strategic planner. We
Okay.
put those pieces in place with the actionable tactics to get the job going.
Gotcha.
But very often, there are other parties that need to come on board to help you implement them,
Okay.
whether they're employees
Yep.
or contractors or other consultants that can help you do that. Because when we're looking, just as an example, with your financials, right? I'm
Right.
going to tell you there are gaps and there are holes and there are pieces, and here's how we can fix them. But it might not be your job as the founder to go
Right.
fix them. It may be bringing in a CFO or
Yeah.
a properly aligned CPA to help you do these kind of things. It may be a team member outside.
Okay.
The other example may be marketing. We know your messaging and we know what we need to say, but in order to get the leads coming in, we have to buy ads. So now we bring in a marketing agency that helps us buy ads. So are you seeing how there's other layers of partnerships that come in with me
Yep.
to help you implement?
Okay.
but it is a team. What is it? Um a team sport.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child. Well, it
Yeah.
does take a village to raise your company.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. What are some closing thoughts for listeners out there? That, just some closing thoughts, words of advice, and also how could they reach out to you?
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun and sharing this kind of wisdom. Um, I think the biggest thing that I want people to consider, business owners to consider, it's never too early to think about what you're going to do for your exit.
Yeah.
Never too early. I mean, the day you start your company and name your company and put your corporate structure in mind
Right.
is the day you should be thinking of how you're going to get out of your company,
Good point.
how the exit on it. So it's never too early. It might be a little too late, but it's always get started today if you
Yeah.
haven't thought about that one. So get that going. My company, I am all over social with constantly talking about increasing profits, driving growth, and preparing for future sales. So you can always troll me and get my messaging out there on any of the social platforms.
Okay.
But I would encourage listeners, maybe you want to get a little bit of a jump start.
Yep.
And I have a free training
Okay.
that's called the 30-Day Profit Booster.
Hmm.
And it's at 30dayprofitbooster.com. And it's a free training where I'm teaching how you can get get this, 45% bump in your net profits
Wow.
in 30 days.
I'd like to check that out myself.
Yeah, everybody can. And the great thing is that's the first strategy I do with all my private clients
Yeah.
in a way to get them enough money to pay my fee.
Yeah.
So it's a little self-serving,
Yeah.
but it moves the needle on the company and it shows them that there are hidden profits sitting in your company and it's not hard to do. We can do it in 30 days.
We just said something. I'll ask you one more question. You said something,
Okay.
pay my fee. Do you try to do value-based pricing? Do you try to uncover enough value to is that the goal?
That's the goal because I mean, with any kind of partnership or even employees, when you have an employee come on, you want them to generate enough revenue to pay
Yeah.
their fee, right?
Correct.
That's the trade-off I think about is I want to produce enough profits that
Yeah.
I'm at least doubling
Yeah.
my fee. So
Yeah.
that way you're going in a good place and you're not having to dig in your pocket for
Yeah.
too long to pay me,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm adding impact to your business.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Marcia, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. I learned a lot myself, and I encourage our listeners to go out there and check out your book, check out your website, and check out your offerings. So a lot of value there. So
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank you.